right, let's go. Good Monday morning. It's November 17th, 2025, and week 11 of the NFL season is all but one sterling primetime matchup away. That's right, tonight, boys and girls, we do have the Oakland Raiders of Las Vegas and the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, the pride and prestigious program that is the Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the AFC West powerhouse, the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland. Yeah, no, not too hype about that game, but we do have some talking points coming out of last night. We're going to be Lions-centric today, boys and girls. Yesterday was some fun games, some matchups. Ooh, Tampa. Couldn't help me out a little bit there, Bake, but it is what it is, and it do what it do. First and foremost on the docket was, of course, our primetime matchup, NFL broadcaster. Now, it's saying a lot when of all commentators, Chris Collinsworth is the one that's defending the Lions. The NFL broadcaster Chris Collinsworth rips late penalty against Lions as Eagles defense dominates in win. Eagles defense had 12 deflections. There is lots of blame to go around, and I'm not going to hang my hat and brush my beard on this very one specific play. But it does need to be brought up that something is askew. There is some type of fuckery afoot. I don't understand how you can keep getting away with this time after time after time on big time stages. Prime time against KC, prime time against Philly. A couple years ago in the Sunday afternoon NFL game of the week against Dallas with the eligible man, right? Reporting as eligible, Dan Skipper. How the NFL can continuously still do this to the Detroit Lions and get away with it with no ramification is beyond me. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what Sheila or her family ever did to the NFL. But clearly there is a big old boner to pick with the Detroit Lions. That was one of the most egregious pass interference calls that I have ever seen in my entire life. And the thing that I'm getting really, really sick and tired of is every time it's an important play, a penalty called, there is 30 seconds, a minute after the play is well and done that some shit-stained ref comes in and just goes, no. You see how Rock Yassine's upper body was clearly shoved away by A.J. Brown? Yeah. That's defensive pass interference. God damn it. That's defense. You can't do that. You can't do that. He's just a baby back bitch. A.J. Brown's a baby back bitch. And so are all the Philadelphia Eagles fans who are patting themselves on the back after one of the most egregious and continued bad calls against the most bullied, picked on, and kicked while they were down franchise in all of professional sports. No matter what, there will never be a fair and balanced scale against the Detroit Lions. Now, yes, I sound like sour grapes. Boo-hoo. Jared Goff played like shit. Our offensive line was terrible. Dan Campbell couldn't get out of his own fucking way. And why did we go for a fake fucking punt? Yes, I know all of this. This is all things that we know. There can be multiple situations at once. And yes, I'm going to continue to beat the drum that the Lions are regularly pointed out and taken to a nth degree, to a different standard than all other teams. Why is it teams are allowed to do the most obnoxious team celebrations, coordinated, choreographed celebrations, but when Jamison Williams jumps on the uprights like every player has done for decades, oh, nope, that's a penalty. Can't have that. Can't have that. Can't have the guy who didn't apologize for doing the Trump dance celebrating a touchdown. No. We must penalize him. It's just one more thing, which is why the thumbnail says Detroit versus everybody. Because, yes, it is always, and until proven otherwise, the meme is reality, Detroit versus everybody. but we got in our own goddamn way. So yes, there is plenty of blame. There's plenty of blame to be ladled out. And come on over here, Oliver Twist. You want some more? I got some more. Lights out. Eagles defense swats Jared Goff and offense into oblivion. Yes, it wasn't just the refs tipping the scales on us. It wasn't just our inability to run the ball. It wasn't just our terrible offensive line performance. It wasn't just Amon-Ra St. Brown dropping every god. Does Amon-Ra St. Brown remember what a fucking jugs machine is? Because I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is too busy with his podcast and too busy with commercials and too busy being Amon-Ra St. Brown, the brand, than being Amon-Ra St. Brown, the man. Okay, why are you dropping passes 2, 3, 4 games consistently, regularly, something that historically we have put our pride on you and your ability to not drop passes? What's going on with Amon-Ra St. Brown's hands? There's plenty of blame to be dealt around, but admittedly, the champs are the champs because the champs have a really good defense. Now, I told you guys earlier on in the week everyone was all high on Jalen Carter, and I sat here and I said, there's another defensive tackle that they took a couple years ago, Jordan something or another, and you guys were like, Jordan Davis. And of course, Jordan Davis decided to have himself just a monster fucking game because of course he did, because of course he had a great game, and of course, every single time that Jalen Phillips made a play, I was like, that's the guy I wanted. That's the guy I wanted us to trade for. But I had to sit here in my little puddle and go, well, Brad Holmes, until proven otherwise, Brad Holmes knows what he's doing, and historically he can't trade. Well, Jalen Phillips is making splash fucking plays. This is a repeat of the Dallas game from a few years ago, guys. This is a repeat of the Dallas game. A few years ago back when we just kept going for it, and we're like, take the points, Dan. Take the fucking points, man. This is both the fun and exciting thing about MCDC and the absolutely terrible thing with MCDC. When MCDC is set in his ways, he's going to dig his heels in. He's going to double, triple, if not even quadruple down on what he's going to do. You live by the Motor City Dan Campbell. You die by the Motor City Dan Campbell. And yesterday we died on the vine. We'll be dealing out some report cards. Detroit Lions report card, O-line. And coaches sink chances versus the Eagles, handing out positional grades to the Detroit Lions after the loss to Philadelphia. Jeremy Reisman over at prideofdetroit.com. You guys know we like to kind of kick around and see what the grades are. It's not good. It's not good. And it shouldn't be good because that was fucking terrible. That was just terrible. And the bitch of it is all week it was, well, the Lions are really locked in on how serious and important this game is. They understand the magnitude of this game. And Philadelphia's, well, they're having a lot of locker room drama. And A.J. Brown tweeted this and said this on a social media site. And blah, 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 blah. They're still the champs. They're still the champs. I said earlier on in the week that this game was going to tell us one team's a pretender and one team's a contender. Well, one team is poised to make a repeat run, and one team is sitting with our dick in our hand, outside looking in. That's right, at the playoffs sort of started. The Lions not going to be a playoff fucking team. 1 year removed from a number one seed with 172 players on injured reserve and everything's supposed to be better. We're supposed to be healthy this year. Aiden Hutchinson's back. Ooh, ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, ting. We fucking sucked last night. We sucked donkey balls last night, you guys. It was absolutely terrible. Dan Campbell was far too stubborn against the Eagles. Campbell, Lions offense struggled in Week 11, lost to Philadelphia. That's why I say it's just a repeat of Dallas from a couple years ago. It's that stubborn nature of Dan Campbell that you gotta find a balance. You gotta find a balance. I love Dan Campbell. But when it's going bad, it's hard to sit there like Jocko and go, good. Yeah, good. Good. Yeah, this is what we want. Good. We've doubled up our losses from last year. Hey, look at us go, you guys. And if we have time, if I don't get too chatting beard and off the rails here, Tim 20-man has Week 11 observations. Yeah. That's not so great. Not so exciting. Not what we were really hoping for. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I totally just realized that I didn't put all of my tags on here like I'm supposed to do. So we'll see what kind of traction we get today, guys. It just dawned on me. If you could, do me a favor before we get into the show. Do all the things, ring all my buttons, and press all of my bells. Go ahead and walk on over to that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring that notification bell so that you're notified every single time we go live Monday through Friday, as well as prime time or pregame shows on Sunday or Monday or Thursday, depending on when the Lions are playing. Like the video, share it around with all your friends. There's a poll up in the chat. I'm just trying to get kind of a feel. That's kind of what I was thinking. 17 votes cast. Who gets the blame? MCDC with 29%, Goff with 18%, O-line with 35%, and Philly wanted it more with 18%. That is a fair like measurement, you guys. That is really like just kind of a little bit of blame to dole out here, a little bit to dole out there. The only person who's completely scot-free in the situation is our guy Calvin Shepard. There's one thing we learned yesterday. It's that Calvin Shepard's the real goddamn deal. And he might as well start looking for property in Louisiana because he's going to be the Louisiana State Tigers head football coach. I would just set it in stone, guys. So let's go ahead and jump into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Shout out down in the chat. I can cry about the rule that's been in place for 10 years now. If you're going to have full-on 11-man coordinated celebrations where they have put time, effort into it, and it's a multiple-man celebration, then J-Mo should be allowed to jump on the fucking goalpost all he goddamn wants. That we're measuring apples and oranges here. His celebration was not egregious by any sense of the imagination. So if they're going to allow team-based celebrations, then yeah, Jameson Williams can jump on the fucking goalpost all he goddamn wants. That's the NFL being the no fun league. Combo blame O-line DC. Goff was 41% pressure rate last night, 6th highest in the league. Art, you're right. He was getting smoked. He is getting smoked. Philly has a really good defense. Like, all things aside, they are not only a championship caliber defense, but they are kind of coming on right when you want to be coming on. Again, it's extra salt on my balls about Jalen Phillips. I really wanted Jalen Phillips. I like Jalen Phillips coming out of college. All right. And yeah, he has that injury-prone designation, but he was putting on a show. I do agree, though. I believe it was Broski said that Amon-Ra and Penei, and I'll even toss Goff in there. Something is wrong with those guys. I've been saying it for weeks now that Jared Goff just seems fucking tired and just not there. But something's askew. You guys get that. You guys see that, right? Something is askew. Just when Goff is throwing fast and low all night. Chase, yeah, dude. I don't remember Goff having such a low release. Is that because of the gloves, you think? Because it felt like, yeah, who was it that said there's tape on us now, just jump? That was exactly it, dude. Oh, fuck. I can't remember who it was. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's how you beat us is just jump. Just put your arms up. Also, I mean, Jordan Davis is a big motherfucker, so that helps too. 5 tip passes and 0 run game shows me that they had 0 push on that O-line. Yeah, that's what happens when you're a new dad, no sleep. Trippy, and that's what I was saying about Jared Goff, is that, like, early on, it's like it's got to be something with him being a new dad, because doesn't he just look tired behind the eyes in every interview? Jared Goff just looks tuckered, dude. That's what I've been saying. They need to figure out something pregame where Goff can go and get like a 15, 20-minute power nap, maybe a little cup of coffee, you know what I'm saying? A little something to wake him up there, because something needs to wake his ass up a little bit. Penei could be in the same thing. You know, I know he's got a little kid at home. Amon-Ra, though, I was such a big fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and is he getting too Hollywood? I know that sounds weird, But is Amon-Ra getting too Hollywood, too much Amon-Ra the brand to worry about much? I think if you touch the field goal post, regardless, it's a penalty. Is it? I mean, because I've seen guys still go up and dunk on the goal post. You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out. I don't know why I just thought about this, but I was thinking about big, gigantic players. Did you guys see 41-year-old Mercedes Lewis playing the other day? Holy shit, was that wild to see. I was like, I look down and I see number like 89 for the Broncos, and it says Lewis, and I was like, I wonder if that's still Mercedes Lewis. And then the commentator's like, 900-year-old Mercedes Lewis still out there doing it. I was like, oh my God, Mercedes Lewis. Cowboy soaking up the limelight instead of perfecting his craft. No way that's true. Cali boy soaking up the limelight instead of perfecting his craft. I read that totally wrong, Trippy. You know, doesn't it just kind of seem that way a little bit? Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like everyone's a little distracted. It's a bad thing when, in my opinion, the most locked-in player on offense, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing on the whole for the guy, but it seems to be kind of a red flag when your most locked-in player on offense is J-Mo. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that there's somebody who's more locked in on offense than Jameson Williams right now. I mean, fuck, we lost Laporta for the next 3 weeks. There goes our second-best offensive receiving threat outside of Amon-Ra, who isn't even that. He ain't even that right now. I'm so fucking disappointed in everything. I'm so fucking disappointed in the team. I'm so fucking disappointed in Goff. I'm so fucking disappointed in Penei Sewell. Hutch was a non-factor. Our offensive line, not looking great. Jalen Phillips, I'm disappointed we didn't go after Jalen Phillips. It's just disappointment. I'm disappointed that my fucking deer blind was supposed to be delivered on Friday, and it didn't show up until Saturday. It's just been, I didn't win a goddamn dime yesterday gambling, not one fucking bet. Ugh. My disappointment is immeasurable. Touching the goalpost in the NFL results in 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, primarily when used as a prop during a celebration, such as a basketball-style dunk. Gotcha, Art. That makes sense. I feel like I've seen it more regularly without penalties. You know what I'm saying? How many times did Goff force a pass to Brown last night? Well, Jack, the question could be, I wouldn't say he necessarily forced a pass to St. Brown. I would say he threw a football-shaped object in the vicinity that Amon-Ra St. Brown should be in. Our pets' heads are falling off! Their heads are falling off! Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Hell yeah, guys. Oh, man. All right. Excuse me. Let's get the old cup of coffee here. All right. So, all that aside, NFL broadcaster Chris Collinsworth rips late penalty against the Lions Lions versus Eagles. Dominant win. I totally read that headline wrong. But I do want to shout out how he made that move at the deadline, and it showed Braden, and it showed Brent. You're so right, dude. You're so right. Oh, trippy. He says basketball-style dunk. He was using it as a stripper pole. NFL is supposed to be woke. Why do they hate against showing love to stripper culture? Exactly, dude. Why are you guys being so belittling to stripper culture, huh? Why are you alienating such a important group of people? OF fans everywhere should protest the NFL. Campbell needs thank you, Beantown. Appreciate the super chat, my guy. Campbell needs to learn how to be more strategic. I get going for it on fourth down is his style, but in a game like last night, he needs to be smarter. You are 100% correct, Beantown, and what I will say to that, shout out Beantown with the super chat that will be added to our total, going to charity this December 7th is when we'll be dropping the money off. It shows personally, and I guess if I'm going to call assholes and elbows, it shows a lack of growth by Dan Campbell. I hate beating up on Dan Campbell, but it's true. It shows his inability to evolve from season to season. We are, 2 years removed from the Dallas Cowboys eligible man nonsense, where it never should have came down to that situation. There should have been points galore. Dan Campbell should have taken points after points after points, but his stubbornness will ultimately be his downfall. It is great that we are so aggressive and we go for it all the time, and it does give us an advantage when it works. The problem is when it's not working, you got to change course. My God, you have to change course. You cannot just continue to beat your head against a wall. So I say, I love your laugh. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's sometimes these guys get me cracking up, Curry. To say celebration is better than another is funny. You can't touch the post. It's been in the rules. Just because JMO lacks brain power, his handler should have kept him in line. I mean, if we want to split hairs, did JMO actually touch the upright, or did he just touch the padding around the upright? So technically, he didn't actually engage with the upright itself. He engaged with the protective padding around the upright. Both kickers are missing layups in pregame. Maybe could have hit one of them, but field goals were no guarantee last night. Trippy, and that's the one thing that I wanted to kind of give a little bit of grace to Jared Goff and his inability to be accurate last night. It shouldn't be a factor, but it was. I mean, 30-mile-an-hour winds are going to kick up and make that ball snap around a little bit. And like you pointed out in the pregames, ooh-wee, it was wild as hell to watch them balls flying around in the pregame warm-ups. When your offense is having issues moving the ball, you can't run. You need to take points, especially since our defense is playing so well. I agree, Art. I agree. Let's keep the real. They should have told the stop playing around and do their fucking job. Plain and simple. I agree, Mr. Detroit City. The wind was ripping last night. Beantown, it really was, dude. This was like Jack Campbell. I don't want my employees fucking off when they can't execute their job, basically. I agree with you guys. I agree with you. I understand, though, JMO's elation. Probably. I mean, at that point in time, it felt like we could steal the momentum, you know. But point of this Chris Collinsworth thing, NFL broadcaster Chris Collinsworth was upset with last night's penalties thrown in the game as Philadelphia defeated the Lions 16-9 on Sunday night. I do have to shout out, I can't find it, but someone made a comment in the chat. The Gales of Maverick came slashing last night. God damn, Kane. Ain't that the truth, dude? Ain't that the fucking truth, brother? Golly, man. Golly, dude. Nailed it, dude. Nailed it. I can't remember who said it in the chat, but I do agree with you. I don't think... Well, this is a if-then grandma wagon statement. I don't think the Lions could have won even with that pass interference call going our way. We just didn't have the horses on offense last night. We didn't have the horses on offense to go up and match up and come up from behind and tie the game up. And even if we had tied the game up, what's to say we'd have won in overtime? You know what I'm saying? What's to say we'd have won that game anyway? I don't think we would have won, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it was an egregious bullshit call that gave any last vestige of hope. It just took it away from any Lions fans or players. You know what I'm saying? If then grandma wagon would have been nice though to have an opportunity, but I don't think we had the guns to go toe to toe on the last drive. I hope this game last night was kind of a lesson for him that sometimes you have to change it up and adapt on the fly. You know, Beantown, and the thing is that the bitch of it is that, you know, and maybe this is a Ben Johnson thing. Historically, we were pretty good at making second half adjustments and at the halftime. Did we see that last night? No, not at all. We've just seen Dan Campbell continuing to double down. Now, maybe in Dan's head, the game felt a lot closer than it was. You know, I don't know. I just, personally, I kind of knew we were fucked on that first interception. On that first interception, I was like, well, that's how today's going to go. That's how this game is going to go, huh? We take those 2 chip shot field goals. We are down 1. That PI call would have hurt way more, but yeah, we were not scoring a touchdown there. Yeah, Art, I like to think that we could have. I like to think that, you know, that was a bullshit call that ruined the game, took away all opportunity for us to win. And to a degree it did, because we were never allotted the opportunity, right? But looking at the game on the whole, it wouldn't have mattered because we weren't going to do anything with that opportunity to begin with. It was just a bad game. The Eagles had the ball down on third down with about 1:47 to go in the game. Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was jockeying with Lions defensive back Rock Yassin, and Jalen My Butt Hurts tried to continue a drive. The pass was incomplete, but penalty flag was thrown very late, mind you, very, very, very late. Yassin was called for pass interference, effectively making it nearly impossible for the Lions to get the ball back with enough time to try to tie the game. Collinsworth was upset with the call. This is saying a lot. Chris Collinsworth defending the Detroit Lions. Hello? Hello, hell? Hell, hello. Have you frozen over? Guys, I think hell's freezing over. Chris Collinsworth's defending the Detroit Lions. That's an absolutely terrible call. That is going to decide this football game, Collinsworth said on the penalty called on Yassin. If anything, it's an offensive push. We're not going to watch it again. You guys have all seen it. If you want to call a foul, it's an offensive foul. Eagles running back Saquon would ice the game. The Eagles defense played at a championship level. Blah, 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 blah. Here you go. The Lions were 3 of 13 on third down and 0 for 5 on fourth down. Look, if I'm 0 for 2 on third down or on fourth down, I am very hesitant to even try a third attempt. If I'm 0 for 3 on fourth down attempts, personally, I'm utilizing the weapon that is Jack Fox because clearly my guys don't want it enough. And what the flying fuck was that fake punt run with Grant Stewart with the Eagles defense on the field? What the hell was that? What's up, Riley? Hey, Kerry, how you doing, brother? Good to see you guys, yo. Good to see you guys. I personally, if I'm calling the show, though, if I'm 0 for 2 on fourth down attempts, I'm not trying a third unless I'm really confident. And if that third time doesn't work out for me, yeah, no, it ain't happening a fourth, let alone a fifth time. Goff was 14 of 37 with a touchdown pass to J-Mo and an interception to Cooper DeJean. Jalen Phillips, ooh, boy, that name right there. Jalen Phillips, that salted my nuts when he was getting a sack. And Nakobe Dean recorded sacks on Goff. Eagles defenders deflected 10 passes. Phillips Jordan Davis had 3 of the deflections. I feel bad for even mentioning his name last week. I feel like I spoke that into existence. The Eagles' offense wasn't great, but Hurts scored a tush push when it mattered the most. He was 14 of 28 for 135 yards. Amid a week of controversy, A.J. Brown led the team with 7 catches on a team-high 11 targets for a whopping 49 yards. Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs had 5 catches for 107 yards, leading the team. He also had 39 rushing yards on 12 carries. Very inefficient. The Eagles improved to 8-2. The Lions fell to 6-4. Lucky ducky us, and we're on the outside looking in. Going to have to really lock in and try to win out, guys. You got look. The reality is, you just got to win out to calm all naysayers and to calm the waters of the rest of our season. Y'all just going to have to win out, and I don't mean this pussyfooting around 3-point bullshit. Belt to ass, woodshed all season long. All season long. How trash was that Branch call? League's not even trying to hide it. Art, they hate Brian Branch, dude. They hate Brian Branch. Lions 73% bets. Yeah, we are effed from the start, but they looked like ass on top of it. Vegas didn't need the refs. Nah, Trippy, you're not wrong. Vegas didn't need the refs. We were just not good. Jalen Carter and Jordan Smith look like wide receivers than St. Brown and J-Mo did. Those two need to stop playing tiddlywinks. Guys, I'm telling you, Amon-Ra, what the fuck is wrong with him, man? And this isn't like, meh. I mean, like, what's wrong with these, dude? What is wrong with these? Do we need to get on the jugs machines? Also, where is Tesla? Why not a lot of Tesla? Why more Khalif Raymond? Is Tesla sliding back down the depth chart, guys? Is Tesla not impressing the coaches? Has he hit a wall? What's going on with Tesla, guys? I'm very disappointed in Tesla's production or lack thereof. Perhaps wouldn't hate Branch if he was on the Chiefs. Damn straight, Jack. They would love Brian Branch if he was on the Chiefs. So here we got some grades, you guys. Some grades doled out. Even though I wanted O-line, can't argue that Phillips on the other side of Hutch would have been nice to see last night, dude. Brent, I was really hoping that we would make a play for some offensive line depth, especially with Mahogany going down. We didn't. I really wanted the two guys that I really, really wanted. I wanted Jalen Phillips or Boye Mafe, and we didn't make a move at either one of them. And then it was just salt in the wound watching Phillips terrorize our offensive line because that was the guy I wanted. Because I look, dude. That boy can ball, and he would have fit the Lions organization and what we do here really, really well, especially at opposite Aiden Hutchinson. It would have been a terrible, terrible situation for the NFC North for a few years. You know what I'm saying? Brad spends all those assets on Tesla, but doesn't even use him. Mr. Detroit City, you getting it, dude? You get it. You're getting why my butt is sore about that. Quarterbacks, let's look at the grades. Jared Goff was rattled and inaccurate all night. At his best, Goff can navigate pressure, calmly find his open reads, and deliver an accurate ball. None of that was happening on Sunday night. While most of his reads were fine, his ball delivery was not. He finished the night just 37.8% completion percentage, by far the worst of his career. Pressure certainly had something to do with that, but even if Goff was working with a clean pocket, his passes were just off. With a D grade there and a fair D grade. Running backs getting a B only because Gibbs is an electrifying asset. Jahmyr Gibbs took over in the second half and did everything he possibly could to turn every target into an explosive play. His 5 catches for 107 yards set a career high for the third-year back, and it gave Detroit plenty of opportunities to put points on the board. But he was also responsible for a failed fourth down conversion in which he had room to convert, but ran into the back of an offensive lineman. David Montgomery managed just 27 yards on 6 carries, plus another 10 in the receiving game. Pass protection was also a bit of an issue for this duo again, although this wasn't Vikings level of a disaster. Of all the offensive players to blame for Sunday's 9-point output, the backs deserve the least of it. Tight ends getting a C. The lack of Sam Laporta was fairly noticeable, but I can't point to many specific plays where Brock Wrong or Ross Smelly Dwelly were directly to blame. This is an Eagles defense that ranked first against tight ends in DVOA allowed, and it's no surprise that this unit was not very productive on Sunday night. Wide receivers getting a C, and I think that's an incredibly liberal C. I think it should be a C-, if not a D. A very mixed bag from the receiving corps. J-Mo made it seem like his season revival is actually here, and his ability to punish defenses with crossing routes should give fans hope for the offense. His penalty was dumb and costly, but I'm not going to ding him too much for it. Sadly, it was Amon-Ra who looked out of sorts against the Eagles. He was targeted a whopping 12 times and turned that into just 2 catches for 42 yards. There were some borderline drops. There were chemistry issues with Goff, although Goff didn't agree in his post-game comments. And against the Eagles secondary, St. Brown rarely found open space. On top of that, after getting both Khalif Raymond and Isaac Tesla involved last week, the duo combined for 0 catches on 1 target. Offensive line getting a strong D-. This wasn't quite as bad as the Vikings' performance, but in a way, it's actually more concerning. Minnesota's pass rushing success seemed more schematic. Against the Eagles, it just looked like the offensive line was getting bullied out there. Granted, this is a strong Philly defensive front, particularly at the interior, but it was still disheartening to see the offensive line take a step back after a promising game against Washington last week. The Lions' offense managed just 3.5 yards per carry, gave up a pressure rate of 41%, 6th highest of the week, and it was destroyed any chance at finishing drives. Take the Lions' failed 4th down attempt in red zones. We're not going to watch that because it hurts my butthole. Keoti Awashika and Penei Sewell both lose their one-on-ones. If Goff has just a little bit more time, he likely finds a wide-open Brock Wright for an easy score. Oddly, I think the Lions handled the Eagles' rare blitzes mostly fine, but not being able to handle Philly's front four is a big concern. And here we go, the group that kept us alive, our defense, doing everything they could, and Calvin Shepard. As glorious as it is, I hate it because I don't want to see Shep leave. Detroit's pass rush was mostly MIA for the second week in a row, but that was heavily offset by their ability to stymie the Eagles' run game, particularly in short yardage situations. A big reason the Lions were able to keep the game close is Detroit stopped 4 3rd-and-1 situations and got a 4th-and-1 stop as well. Saquon was mostly held in check, earning just 83 yards on 26 carries, just ramming that ball, just ramming him against the brick wall. Still, I'm left wanting more from this group, particularly when it comes to pass rush. Aleem McNeil's return has not made the difference we're hoping for, and while I get the strategy of getting 3 defensive tackles on the field against the Eagles, McNeil wasn't very effective working from the edge. Also, I think it's fair to be a little critical of Aiden Hutchinson's play as of late. His pressure has been way down in recent weeks, and he also has a bad tendency to lose contain on outside rushes. The Eagles exploited that a couple of times on Sunday night, and it's becoming a recurring issue for the star defensive end. Linebackers getting an A. Action Jack Campbell led the team with a season-high 15 tackles against the Eagles, including a huge tackle for a loss that turned a 2nd and 5 into a 3rd and 8. Alex Anelzone was fantastic in coverage yet again, and he also added a massive 8-yard tackle for a loss that helped hold the Eagles to a field goal in their first red zone trip. Derek Barnes was the quietest of the 3 of the night, and I'd still like to see more pass rush from him. Secondary getting an A+. The Lions secondary, with just a little help from a pass rush, managed to hold Jalen Hurts to a season low in passer rating with 63.8. Completion percentage and a 50% EPA dropback, and his second lowest yards per attempt with 4.8. Detroit also managed the lowest yards of the separation per target of any other team in Week 11 with 2.3. While the Lions could have really used a turnover, this unit performed as well as anyone could realistically hope, especially given that they were down 3 starters. Special teams getting a D. Let's run down their list of failed special teams moments. Fake punt that didn't come close to converting. Missed long-distance extra point. All 3 kick returns were stopped before the 30-yard line. 3 punt returns for 3 yards. Khalif Raymond seems to have just run out of juice as a returner in both punts and kicks. Jake Bates missed another kick, and while the windy conditions and 15-yard penalty didn't help, he later made a longer 53-yard field goal with little issue. The team's punting game remains pretty good, so it saves them from an F this week. But they've got to be better moving forward. And, of course, our coach is getting a D-. I had a lot of problems with the way Dan Campbell managed the game. The Lions say they got the right look on the fake punt, but a run up the middle against Philly's strong defensive interior seems like a poor choice. That was actually the only 4th down attempt I didn't agree with in terms of going for it. But I was extremely underwhelmed by the actual play calls on 4th down. In fact, let's take a step back and talk about the 3rd downs. On 2 different occasions, Lions tried to run a 3rd and medium or long to get themselves into a manageable 4th down. Here's how those worked out. 3rd and 8, 2-yard run. Delay a game on 4th down attempt. 3rd and 4, 1-yard run. Failed 4th down attempt. Don't love that. But perhaps the worst decision of the night was Campbell not using his timeouts on defense at the end of the first half. Had he used them once and the Eagles got into the red zone, Detroit could have had another minute to try and double up with possessions to end the first half and start the second. Instead, Campbell passes on the extra possession, and his reasoning makes 0 sense. I knew we were getting it after halftime, and really what I did, I just kind of waited. I was going to wait until we hit about under a minute and then had that point. I just kind of let it go, like, all right, we'll get it back. So absolutely, I talked about it, though, through about it, and I just chose not to there. I said, well, we will take the 3rd quarter when it comes out at the halftime. So, yeah, I did think about it. And that right there, I just shows you Dan Campbell didn't have faith in his team. Dan Campbell didn't have faith in the offense. I thought about it. I talked about it, but you didn't do it. Ifs and buts or candies and nuts. If-then statement. If-then grandma wagon. Let's go. I don't understand how getting the ball to start the second half has anything to do with burning an extra possession. As for the game plans, I actually thought there were some things to like offensively. Using the pass and screen game to open up the run game would have worked had the execution been a little better on critical downs. And defensively, Calvin Shepard deserves a ton of credit for continuing to get great performances despite a banged-up group. Yes, he does. He deserves a lot of flowers. So Calvin Shepard is definitely climbing the ranks of coaching opportunities. He's going to be on a lot of teams' short lists, both at the collegiate and professional level. How do we feel about the grades? How we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? I believe Brad almost failed this team. Missing Laporta was huge. Brock Wright is not a hot read option. No, he's not. Laporta can get open a lot faster than Wright. Yes, he can. You miss the shots you don't take. 3 timeouts, didn't try to score before half. It's a shame. I agree with you, Mr. Detroit City. Need about 30 yards for a field goal, but didn't even try. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Dan Campbell didn't feel like he had much confidence in his own damn team. You know what I'm saying? Which is, it kind of sucks, dude. But it speaks a lot. Speaks a lot about where the team was last night. I don't think we need to cover about Dan Campbell being too stubborn. I think we kind of hit on that enough today. Let's talk about some observations, though, to wrap the day up. Tim 20-man, Week 11 observations. Big play, Waymo Jamo. Jameson Williams has caught a touchdown pass in 3 straight games, matching the longest streak of his career after recording a 40-yarder in the second quarter of Sunday's 16-9 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Williams now has 17 career scrimmage touchdowns, 15 receiving, 2 rushing, and his average touchdown covering 38.1 yards. An off night for Jared Goff and Amon-Ra has been one of the most consistent connections in the NFL over the last 4 seasons. St. Brown came into Sunday's game with at least 5 receptions in 8 consecutive games and 57 career games since entering the NFL in 2021. But that connection was off against the Eagles. Goff threw to St. Brown 12 times and completed only 2 of those for 42 yards. Racking up the tackles, Jack Campbell registered a career-high 15 tackles, 7 of which are solo, and a tackle for a loss. He's just the 5th player in Lions history to accumulate 90 tackles through his first 10 games. Wow! Well, tackling machine. Since 1987, joining DeAndre Levy, Ernie Sims, and Chris Spielman. Woo! There's a couple of names from the past. Obviously, we all know the legendary Chris Spielman, but y'all remember Ernie Sims. Y'all remember Ernie Sims? I remember Ernie Sims, and I'm not going to lie. I feel like DeAndre Levy is one of the biggest wasted talents in the history of Detroit sports. I think DeAndre Levy could have been a seriously talented, high-end all-pro linebacker if he'd have been anywhere but Detroit, man. That sucks, dude. I fucking forgot about DeAndre Levy and Ernie Sims, dude. Ernie Sims. That's awesome. Hey, everyone. What's up, Jody? Good morning, sister. Good to see you. Don't let the Lions shitting the bed distract you. From Shedeur Sanders introducing himself to the NFL game in style. Trade Goff and 3 firsts for him. We need a mobile QB. Ugh, Ernie Sims went to FSU, and what do I say about them? I know, Mr. Detroit City. I know what you say, dude. I haven't thought about Ernie Sims in fucking 15 years. Oh, Ernie Sims. Third down troubles. Converting consistently on third down continues to be an issue for Detroit's offense as they started Sunday 0 for 5 on third down before recording their first third down conversion of the third quarter. Detroit entered the game 21st in the NFL on third down, converting just 37.5% of the time. They were 3 for 13, a whopping 23% Sunday night, and 0 for 5 on fourth down. This is something that I noticed we were doing, and I'm guessing it was to load up the box and let our linebackers run, but you guys notice our heavy package we were rolling with. Defensive tackle package. There's the NASCAR package along Detroit's defensive line where they put 4 edge rushers in the game with Aiden Hutchinson and Al-Qadim Muhammad kicking inside. What do the Lions call the package? They put the game on 3rd and 1. Midway through the first quarter with Aleem McNeil, Tyleek Williams, DJ Reader, and Roy Lopez up front. Whatever they called it, it worked. The Eagles' offensive line got 0 push on the play, and linebacker Trevor Nowitzki was able to knife in and tackle Saquon for a 1-yard loss to force a punt. It speaks to the versatility of Detroit has along their interior of their defensive front. Batted passes. Speaking of defensive tackles, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter were disruptive Sunday as the two combined to get a hand on 5 of Goff's passes at the line of scrimmage. Davis had 3 and Carter had 2. Missing Sam Laporta. It was very evident how important Sam Laporta is to this offense. Even as a hot read, relief, dump-off guy, Goff seemed a little uncomfortable without one of his favorite targets there. Lions head coach Dan Campbell said after the game they were hoping to get Pro Bowl tight end Sam Laporta back at some point this season, but he wasn't quite sure if that would be a possibility. Laporta will at least miss Detroit's next 3 games on injured reserve. His production was missed Sunday, especially on third down. Campbell said they are taking it week to week with Laporta. Another sack for Hutchinson. Hutchinson recorded 3 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, and half a sack against the Eagles. Since quarterback hits became an official statistic in 2006, he joins Micah Parsons as the only NFL player to produce at least 15 hits, 7.5 sacks, and 7 tackles for a loss in each of the player's first 4 seasons. Yes, but not doing enough. Would like to see more. I need more out of you, Hutch. I'm sorry, dude. Time to put that S on your chest. You're going to have to start elevating the offensive play through defensive stardom. Stopping the tush push, Detroit's defense can put some beef on the center of their defensive front. Those big guys play with good leverage, too. They were able to stuff a critical 4th down tush push late in the 4th quarter to keep Detroit's hopes of a comeback alive. They know how to grow roots and anchor in there, and that's where it always is going to start, Campbell said after the game. So I thought the guys handled it well, did a great job, and it really paid dividends today. It gave us a chance, but not enough. We did have a chance. We kept the champs within striking distance. Our defense did absolutely everything that we could possibly ask for and more. With their back up against the wall, they held the champs to 16 points. Needed that high-octane offense to stop playing down to their opponent and actually get after it. If only Hutch got that safety on that nasty spin cycle he did on their backup right tackle. Just missed Hurts. I know, dude. It was Mr. Detroit City. It's that 6 inches, man. It's that Al Pacino 6 inches space from any given Sunday, bro. Brock Wrong is not a number tight end for sure. I agree with you, Jack. He's a guy. He's just a jag. Just a jag. Just another guy. O-line was rocking, not blocking. Carey, Goff always seems to be great when he has time to make his reads. Yesterday there was 0 as far as blocking for Goff. Carey, you are right, and that is unfortunately something. Shedeur Sanders. Only thing edging Ernie Sims is doing is around my mulch beds. Oh, damn. Is that what end up? Is that what he does now, Mr. Detroit City? Is Ernie Sims working landscaping down there? Is that what he does now? But Carey, you're right, and that's been one of the knocks on Jared Goff is that he historically has needed everything to go well for him to play well. There have been times in Detroit where he has broken that narrative, but the thing is, once that die is cast in your career, any time that you falter and default back to the meme, all of those things are going to come back. He can only play inside, needs a perfect thing, perfect blocking, can only throw play action passes, that type of shit. I never like it when Jared Goff's out there with gloves on. I know it works for him, but it does impact the velocity, his spin on the ball, and it could have played a part in his lower release. We don't normally see Goff have that many batted balls. He's not necessarily a short quarterback. He's not 6'7", but Jesus Christ, 6'7", you little fuckers, you Gen Z fuckers with your 6'7". You couldn't 6'7" if we hadn't 69'd before you. Let's fucking go, yo. All right, so the reality of the game is, guys, it sucked. It sucked donkey balls top to fucking bottom. We hit the field and didn't have it from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. Our defense was rocking and rolling and doing everything they possibly could to keep us in the game against a less than stellar Philadelphia Eagles offense. The Eagles offense isn't electrifying as they need to be or as where they were last year. We could have taken advantage of that. The problem is the same as the Eagles offense isn't electrifying or a cohesive unit. The Detroit Lions offense is also not a cohesive unit as electrifying. And you could say, well, it's because of Ben Johnson. It's because of the offensive line. It could be Jared Goff's tired. Amon-Ra's too much of a diva. Blah, 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 blah. Things have changed and something is askew. It needs to be tweaked and tailored and fixed relatively shortly because now we are no longer the kings of the North. We are no longer in absolute control of our destiny, and we need to now start really locking and loading, and I cannot have you drop another game. That's the reality of the situation, guys. We still got to play our whole division for the second fucking time. We still got 7 more weeks of the season. You just got to lock in. You got to win it out. You just got to win out. That's the law. That's the reality of it. Win your division and win out. You're probably not going to get the 1 seed unless other teams start to falter. And well, Philly's still king of the North or king of the NFC as far as I'm concerned. Right? They're the top dog, and we're probably one of the better contenders that they would face all season long. And as far as the measuring stick is concerned, our defense was able to go blow for blow with the offense, but our offense wasn't able to go blow for blow with their defense, and that is concerning. That is concerning. I actually woke up this morning and my very first thought was we're not going to make the playoffs and I need to start looking ahead for draft prospects. And I don't like that. I don't like being in that mentality. I don't like the idea of us missing the playoffs. It's a very strong possibility now at this point. And if I'm being honest, the team that we've put out there a couple of times now is not a team deserving of making a playoff run. We played down to our opponents consistently. We need to stop that. Stop playing with your food, right? Put your boot on their neck and don't take it off. I'm sick of this pussyfooting around bullshit. I'm sick of it. You need to come to work, put your hard hat on, take them out to the woodshed, put belt to ass, and then go home. Stay off your podcast. Stop with the social medias. Stop with commercials. Y'all need to get back to brass tacks and back to what made you good, being the underdog, being the scrappy fighters that you are, right? We've seemed to have faltered and strayed away from that mentality and that identity, right? Just a little bit. Doesn't it feel a little bit more Hollywood now in Detroit? A little bit less gritty, a little bit more shiny. I don't really like that too much, but I like to think that we can fix this. I like to think that we can fix this, and we'll get back on track. I do believe that any given Sunday can happen. I do have faith in Dan Campbell and his coaching staff. I am a little disappointed with Brad Holmes and his lack of aggressiveness. Now, I have laid out in my opinion, a pretty sound case as to the reality of why Brad Holmes doesn't make trade deadline deals, because historically it doesn't work out for him. It really sucks, though, when there was a guy that I really wanted, Jalen Phillips, and then not only do we not get him, but he gets traded to our biggest conference opponent in terms of getting to the Super Bowl, and then in prime time in his Philadelphia Eagles Philadelphia debut, well, he ends up taking advantage of our future Hall of Famer tackle Penei Sewell and logging a sack and showing exactly why I thought we should go after him. That would have been a perfect complementary piece opposite Aiden Hutchinson. But we didn't do it, so it's just a little bit more saltiness in my wound, a little bit more salt on my balls, but it is what it is. It's going to suck. Monday sucks. This Monday sucks. This is not how I wanted my vacation to fucking start. I knew it was going to go this way, though. Friday, when my deer blind didn't show up like it was supposed to, I knew that this is just kind of how it was all going to go. So take today, guys, and it sucks. We can lick our wounds, and we can be mad. Be mad. Be mad. You are totally justified in being upset with the performance of the team. You're justified. Now, I know this morning, Mr. Detroit City, I replied to your comment, and I was like, hey, well, Jared Goff didn't miss blocks. Jared Goff didn't miss passes. And to an extent, he doesn't deserve all the blame. But to an extent, Mr. Detroit City, you're not wrong. Goff was bad Goff. Jared Goff was bad Jared Goff. We haven't seen bad Jared Goff like that in a while. Statistically, we've never seen that bad a Jared Goff, and we'd like to never see that version of Jared Goff ever again. But you're not wrong. There is blame to be dealt out to everybody on the offensive side of the ball. Right? I can't put any blame on our defense at all. Even that bullshit penalty, there is no blame to be put on our defense at all. They did everything they possibly could against the champs with the legion of whom in the secondary. You know what I'm saying? They did great offensively. Lions fans, you are entitled. You are justified, and I am going to encourage you to be mad right now. It was embarrassing. There are too many weapons on offense. I don't care if Laporte is on IR. He is a huge cog, but there are plenty of other cogs in this system to pick up the production of Sam Laporta. Okay? We're entitled to be a little mad, and we can be mad today. No, we're not going to call for Dan Campbell to be fucking fired. Anyone who's doing that is fucking bananas, okay? This is Dan Campbell. This is who he is, and he's not going to change. You live by Dan Campbell, you die by Dan Campbell, all right? The way he goes about it has revolutionized the Detroit Lions and, to an extent, changed the way the NFL is played. You're not going to win them all, and when you play in such an aggressive manner, it will be weaponized against you. And that's what happened. When you miss on the things that you historically do well really strongly, you're going to lose out. You're going to have it blow up in your face, and you're not going to be able to recorrect because you're so used to doing things in a very specific way. I think that, though, Dan Campbell, I don't think we've ever historically lost, well, since like 22, I don't think we've lost back-to-back games. And thankfully, we got kind of a get-right game with the G-Men. Now, the G-Men kind of made it interesting against the Packers yesterday, but I think the Packers are starting to fall off, and I'm hoping that the Lions aren't following the suit of the Packers. I still think Minnesota and Chicago are phony. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates. And I do think that over the next 7 weeks we will see that. I think we'll see the cream rise to the top. Detroit will end up on top of the North and get into the playoffs. But it is a little disheartening where we're at right now. No, I don't actually think we're going to miss the playoffs. No, I don't want to be calling for Dan Campbell's head. And no, Jared Goff is no longer a franchise. Jared Goff is not the guy. I know that it's a double negative right there, but Jared Goff is still the guy. He just had a really bad off day right now. It could be any number of things, and we've speculated on that. But this is what it is this season. We just have to make the best of it. Retool. What is it? So get up, dust off, recalibrate, reload, re-engage, and go out on the attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all we got to do, guys. This is our rock is our rock. Ha! Dude, I like Rock Yassin, man. The Rock Yassin signing, I was equally as excited about us signing Rock Yassin this offseason as I was with us signing Amik Robertson last offseason. I was like, these are two really gritty, talented guys that can contribute for the Detroit Lions. And so far, both of those guys have played exactly where we need them to be. D was great. I just don't want to see TA get a starting spot because the guys who've been playing are purely better than him. That's fair, dude. You're fair. That's totally fair, Mr. Detroit City, dude. Will you also do the sad Dan Campbell in the voice of Daniel Day-Lewis? All right. Let's hang on. Here we go. I got you, bro. I got you. Let's find a Dan Campbell quote. Let's find ourselves a Dan Campbell. What the hell's going on? Oops. Clicky click click. Let's find a Dan Campbell quote. I know I got one around here somewhere. I know I got a Campbell quote somewhere. Come on, dude. Where the fuck? Because I was struggling to read it earlier, man. Come on, give me a Campbell quote. Give me a sad Dan Campbell quote. I would love to, Kane. I would absolutely love to, but I'm having a hard time finding a Campbell quote. Give me till tomorrow. Give me till tomorrow. Alex Jones said Amon-Ra's a German spy. It's from those German bankers, man. So those German bankers, Amon-Ra St. Brown's a globalist spy. He's a globalist spy sent here from the Reich. Don't let him fool you. I'm not on my game today, boys. I'm not on the voice game today. I'm not gonna lie. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and pack up and get out of here, and probably try and get out to the woods here in the next couple hours. See if I can't follow suit with my old man. He bagged an 8-pointer opening day, and we're gonna try and follow suit. I know there's a 10-pointer lurking around in them woods somewhere, dude. So. I ain't gonna lie, dude. That Tucker voice or that Tucker laugh is like, I can't just do it on a dime. It is really fucking hard for me to do sometimes because for me to do it, I have to like flex my throat so hard that I can't quite nail it all the time. It's who we are. It's who I am, and a bit of us today, MCDC. All right. That's who we are. It's who I am. And it's a bit us. It's a bit of us today, okay? We must lick our wounds, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. We'll polish some things up, okay? I know that the guys are a little down, and the fandom is a little down right now, okay? But there's no reason to wallow in self-pity, my boy, all right? We are the Detroit Lions, and we are built on a foundation of grittiness. For every up, there is a down, and for every down, we will be right back up. This is merely us getting knocked down, and by God, on our way back up, we're going to be biting a crab leg right off of Jameson Winston on Sunday night against the Giants. I have all the faith in the world that the Detroit Lions, under the leadership of Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, Brad Holmes, and the rest of the coaching staff, will be able to fix this, and we're going to take the G-men out into the deep water, yes, and we will take our vengeance out upon them. You see, my boy, We refuse to lose consecutive games, especially to dirty NFC East opponents. And I don't care about the rich people and the wealthy higher-ups over there in the Big Apple. Yes, they will need to face those of us from the 3-1-3. And you can't bury what's already come from the dirt, my boy. We will get better. We will take off your kneecaps. We will take a chunk out of you. And before you know it, my boy, we will be the last one standing. The season is a marathon and not a sprint. This is merely a speed bump, my boy. How was that? Deer are wearing St. Brown's jersey today, so they can't be hit. Oh, damn, Jack. Damn, dude. Deer are wearing a St. Brown jersey, so they can't be hit. God damn. That's wild, dude. That is wild, you guys. Friends, Deer got graded at a 152. Damn, Gypsy, that is what's up, bro. That is, yo. So check this out. There's some unique like genetic deficit or a genetic glitch in deer around here. A girl at work hit a fucking deer like a week ago, dude. Excellent job. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. We were trying to improv that all on the fly. She hit a deer, right? Killed the fucker. And she showed me a picture of it, and it was a deer with white spots all over it, right? Which, come to find out, that fucking hide is worth like $3,000, yo. It's some type of like genetic albino shit going on. PETA is listening. I hope not, dude. Fuck PETA. They're a bunch of weirdos. Be careful, fellas. Hey, you never know. You never know who's listening. I just want to shout out to all the NSA, all of the FBI guys watching me. How's it going? Cash Patel. Quit thinking with your dick, bro. Quit thinking with your dick. All right? You little horn dog. F PETA. Exactly, guys. All right, boys and girls, that's going to be it for today's show. Make sure that you have your notification bell turned on so that, my boy, you will know every time that we go live tomorrow at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern here at youtube.com. It is and always has been the Hat and Beard Show, the largest and fastest growing Detroit Lions and NFL content creation station. Exclusively broadcasting from Grandma Studio 1. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Have yourself a good rest of the day. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until tomorrow, we will see you then. Stay out of trouble. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. Bonga, bonga. Frig off.